Another one. These are triggers. This too is a mental health issue, but here's the trigger. A Cheney. Pick one of them. You can go out and find whatever they're talking about in the news, but a Cheney is talking about preserving the Western way of life. This Ms. Cheney got her wealth from mining activities that have polluted the nation's aquifers. This is the Western way of life she's talking about saving. But what this is about is I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I spent 4 years under President Jimmy Carter, the only president in recent history not to put our troops in these games. Neither party supported that man. That was the man that tried to introduce America to solar energy and alternative energy and actually did something, made a display. And what did our media do? Our media did exactly what it was paid to do. So while I served under Mr. Carter, the closest I came to going to war was mounting out with the 6th Marines, waiting for cargo planes to take us to Iran. We were the second line in the Iranian hostage fiasco. And I watched this as a Marine, and watching the political shit show behind this. President Reagan, and it's not Reagan, don't use his name. It is the politics behind him, the evil men behind him. Names like Oliver North came out of that. Cocaine trafficking, heroin trafficking through South Americas, done and paid for with our tax dollars, bringing drugs into the nation's poorest cities, taking that money and buying weapons to go fight a frigging war because Congress said no. If that was not criminal, subversive activity. So youngins, go back and look at the pictures, the Newt Gingrich and those pieces of crap. We gave Oliver North a pardon. We, us, America. Holy fuck. War criminals. Drug sellers that killed more children in the inner cities, almost as many as the bankers playing banking games and causing stress on people's lives that is just evil for profit, for Wall Street. This blank thing we've forgotten about now. Remember all the Wall Street shit? Occupy Wall Street, Occupy. Wall Street just got quiet. They didn't stop making money. Every bit of this churn is moving stocks in the market, and they take off the top, sitting there watching this game and buying commercials. Freaking commercials for drugs on television. That's where you learn about healthcare. So, back to what this is about. So I served for 4 years. You folks gave me some of the most sophisticated training on this planet. I spent over a year of 4 years going to schools that didn't include history lessons. It didn't include philosophy. It was the physics of energy transmission, reflection, and how we detect that in the radar spectrum. And after that, because I passed tests very well, you folks went on to train me in a technology, in a science called metrology, the most precise measurements we do and have done on this planet in the history of this planet. So that's just a little bit of background. That was my Marine Corps time. I was a support person, never direct combat. But my best friends, almost every one of them, were Marine Corps combat veterans. The folks I visited in the hospital, and not enough, in wards that were not in the front of the hospital. because these men and a few women, those wards are still there decades later, or they're the men out on the street, a good part of the homeless that we can't figure out why. Small group, not huge. Now we have Middle East war veterans, almost a generation of them. Young men that need jobs, that need health care, that need a community, that need a place to belong, that do add value, because let's face it, as long as the world's as it is, there's something to be said for parts of the status quo until it gets better. Somehow this fear of the other has made us some pretty fearful people, and I'm shaking talking about it. But so later in this Cheney adventure, which is really what I'm on, her dad forced American servicemen to torture individuals in Guantanamo Bay. Obama promised to close that down, and I feel that man did everything possible. But you know what didn't happen? Is the national clamor and uproar and outrage. That is a view into one detention facility that we have across the planet. There are more. You can go find the references yourself. It's out there. So, why is that flag upside down on my banner there? I'm not sure. Well, let's see where this goes.